What's up, guys? Just trying to get a little update, a little bit more information on that uh, little motor I posted some pictures of a little while back. I didn't document the build process at all. I posted a few pictures and a post of it completed, and now I'm going to post this short video of it running. It was branded as a labeled on the ad premium Chinese chainsaw cylinder. It's just a cheap cylinder. 45cc 43 millimeter pistons, got 2 rings, open transfers, cool little intake port, cool shape on it. But anyways, yeah, so I got it running, rode it up and down the street and back a couple hundred yards, and then propped it up against the house to run inside and grab my phone. I just threw it on a bike real quick one day. I had a little bit of time. I wanted to see if it'd run. Had no exhaust on it. The carb is tilted like this. The chain was rubbing. There was all number of things wrong, but I wanted to fire it up. I wanted to see if it would run. Well, I've been noticing that when I video this stuff, I don't pay as close of attention, or I miss things that I wouldn't normally. And so at the end of this video, it stalls out. Well, I didn't notice that the cylinder separated from the motor. The way I put it together, I wasn't very confident. I basically filled the holes with JB Weld, drilled and tapped into that. And I felt like that was going to be the weak point of the whole build, and it did fail very quickly. But my main thing behind this whole deal was to see if I could make it run. It wasn't about speed. It wasn't about longevity, anything like that. I just wanted to see if I could make it work. It's my first hybrid build. And so it did run. It was pretty cool. Like I said, I rode it a couple hundred yards up and down the road, brought it back home, leaned it up against the wall, ran inside to get my phone. To come back out, I wanted, proof that it worked on video. Well, while I was videoing it running, it stalled out. And like I said, I didn't notice, but at the end of the video, when it stalls out, you can actually see the cylinder shake loose and separate from the case a little bit. Well, I didn't notice that at the time, like I said, because I was videoing. And so I picked the bike up on the rear, by the seat, and went to kickstart it with the pedal. And when I did that, the cylinder came up off of the case all the way and fell off to the side, and the piston was slapping up and down. And it actually broke the bottom of the piston on the case, slapping up and down when I tried to kickstart it. So had I noticed that it separated, I could have put it back together and made it work. But I've since, it was a $10 kit. They've gone up to $12 now, but I've since ordered another kit. I'm going to try to redo that motor. I also ordered a couple other things that I'll try to document better this upcoming time. But anyways, I just wanted to give a little bit of explanation as far as what that was and what went down. But like I said, if you pay attention at the end of the video of the motor running, you can actually see the cylinder rattle loose and come up and separate from the case a little bit. I just didn't know it until after the fact. So anyways, I'm going to try to get this put on with that and make up a little video and get that posted so that I can get that out there. And then on this next one, I'm going to try to document the build process a little bit better. All right, appreciate it. So I just realized, and I'm going to go ahead and say this, because I did take another short video trying to explain what I thought was going on, or what I just went through after the motor stalled out, and I tried to kick it over and the cylinder came off to the side and I broke the piston. And I did find the 2 little pieces that broke off of the bottom of the piston. They were on the ground. So I'm not going to tear this motor, I don't think, completely down. I'm going to rinse it out and just leave the bottom end the way it is, and then rebuild the top end. But anyways, in this other short video after the bike was running, of me showing it broken and kind of explaining what had happened, there might be some stuff that I say that might not be correct, because like I said, I did notice after the fact that the motor was separated before I tried to kickstart it. So once I went to kickstart it and it came apart, I kind of initially at the time thought that that's when it broke, but it actually wasn't. It was at the end of that first video. And had I caught it, like I said at the end of that first video, had I caught it then, I wouldn't have tried to kickstart it or start it again. I could have put it back together, fixed it, done something different. I just drilled and tapped into the JB Weld and screwed the screws right into that. No Loctite or anything. So I've got some stuff. I don't want to get too in depth on this one, but on the next one, I'll show what I'm going to do to correct that issue. So anyways, again, all right, well, we got video of it running, and that was the point of this experiment. My screws didn't hold up in the JB Weld. That was my main concern about this whole thing. They were small, and just threading into the JB Weld, it didn't feel very secure. It was tight, but I was very careful when I tightened them down not to cross, not to strip them out. But directly after it died in that video I was taking of it running, I tried to kick it over. I let the clutch out and I just kicked on the pedal, bam, and as soon as I did that, I heard clack, 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 and the cylinder was hanging off here like this, and I could look down. I saw the piston running up and down, and when that happened, it broke the piston from slapping up against the case. I didn't check everything. I was so excited that it was actually working that I really I rushed this whole process. Not so much putting the motor together, but once it was finished putting it on the bike and trying to run it, I rushed through that process completely. Was not prepared. Had to lean it up against the wall over here and run inside to grab the phone just to get a video of it running. So I did get about 200 yards worth of ride time out of it. I rode up the road and back, and parked it here while it was idling, and went inside and grabbed the camera, came back out. That's when I got the short video of it running, and then it stalled out. I tried to kick it over, and this is the results of that. So my carburetor was tilted at a crazy angle, but it worked. The chain was slapping up against the motor mount here. There was so much going wrong with that something was bound to break. But like I said, the piston is broken on the bottom skirt on the exhaust side on both sides. Yeah, that piston was slapping around when I tried to kick it over, and the cylinder popped off, and then this piston was just sitting here slapping the case and destroyed itself. So I'm sure those chunks went down into the bottom end. It did run. That free porting issue I had looks like it was resolved by the reed valve. When the piston was at bottom dead center, it opened up into the cylinder. The piston dropped below the intake by about 3 millimeters, but it did work, and that was my main thing. This wasn't supposed to be a daily driver. It wasn't supposed to be a powerhouse. It was a cylinder that was not intended to go on a motorized bike, and I just wanted to see if I could make it work. I wanted to learn and get the experience, so now I know, definitely what the weak parts are, when to take my time, don't rush through it. But it is possible to make this stuff work without, don't get me wrong, it took a lot of time, but this was a $10 cylinder. Got the cylinder, the piston, everything as far as that for $10. So this was a learning experience, but it did run. I wish I could have got better footage of it running. Wish I could have got some video of me actually riding it. But at least I got some proof that it was actually running. It didn't last long at all, but it did run, and that was the that was the main thing about this whole project. I just wanted to see if I could make it work. So again, my screws into the JB Weld failed. This was a 43 millimeter piston, 11 millimeter wrist pin. It was designed for a 32 millimeter stroke, and the closest I could get was a 38 millimeter crank. And when I measured through the spark plug hole with my calipers, I was actually coming up with a 40.5 millimeter stroke. So they say those cranks are actually like 30.9 or whatever, 38.9, but I was actually ending up with a 40.5 millimeter stroke. So I don't know. Like I said, this is all just learning process for me. It's just education. So anyways, it did work. It didn't last long, but it did work. And that was the again, that was what I was trying to achieve, is just to see if it would fire off and run. Anyways, until next time.